play. And the haters gonna hate, 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 baby. I'm just gonna shake, 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 shake. Shake it off, shake it off. Heartbreakers gonna break, 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 break. And the fakers gonna fake, 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 baby.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for coming. I'm here to hopefully give some ideas, some help in not only holiday recipes that are healthy choices, but your everyday morning breakfasts, your lunches, dinners. And what I'll start with is to say I'm Tracy Hill, and I live here in Orange County with my husband Brian, who's here, but I can't see him. And we have 3 daughters, and I'm going to tell you how this started for me. I am a mom, and I was a stay-at-home mom, and I prided myself at being a healthy cooking mom. So my kids didn't get the white bread on their sandwiches and the chips or the sodas. I was very careful. But when we have 3 daughters, and when our middle daughter was 14, she was having some symptoms, and she was diagnosed with extreme hypoglycemia. And that was a big surprise to me, because I thought I was, providing all the right foods. But our doctor, who was naturopathic, sent us to the nutritionist, and the nutritionist sat us down, and I started learning some new and more important information about the foods that we're eating. And I realized that there were a lot of changes that I could make. So wanting to still be able to serve pancakes in the Saturday morning or have a birthday cake for special occasions like that, I started experimenting. And I made some discoveries that were really quite wonderful, and had never intended to write a cookbook. But as I went along, adding more and more recipes to my repertoire, we were encouraged to turn it into a cookbook. And that's why I'm here, because it turns out we did put together a cookbook called Delightfully Free, and it is gluten-free, dairy-free, refined sugar-free, yeast-free, and soy-free, except for one recipe. But beyond that, the important thing about my cookbook is it addresses glycemic index and inflammation and the causes, the root causes of disease. So it's not, I cringe when someone just calls it a gluten-free cookbook, because it's so much more. It's all about healthy eating. So let's see. One thing I wanted to say is that I keep hearing, like Dottie has said, make healthy happen. So over in my house, that's what I was trying to do. And it turns out that the book dovetails so well with what you're doing here at Moms in Charge. Because, for example, the cake on the cover is made in the blender. And I made that comment a minute ago about moms are busy. Well, I didn't want to spend all day in the kitchen. I wanted to be with my kids and doing other things too. So I didn't go in the direction of making things so complicated and so many different ingredients. And I use the blender a lot whenever possible. So this cake is made in the blender out of black beans. As a matter of fact, there are 3 cans of black beans in this cake. So about healthy. Not only is it gluten-free, that's good, dairy-free and refined sugar-free, but your kids are eating beans and eggs, and that's the basic ingredients. I use unsweetened cocoa powder in a recipe like this so that you get the goodness of the dark chocolate without their sugar. And what I do is I use 2 low glycemic natural sweeteners, and I'm going to talk about those right now. If there was one thing that you took home from what I have to say, if you didn't take the book home, but you just remembered one thing, it is a great change from white table sugar. We know that white processed sugar is so processed and refined that it's devoid of any nutrients. It actually pulls from us. It's a toxin. It feeds cancer. There are a lot of bad things about white sugar. We know what it does to our kids. Well, I have 2 alternatives that I use in my book, and anyone can make this change. It's so simple. My first sweetener that I use in each recipe that's sweet, there's plenty of savory in this book too, but in any sweet recipe, my first line of defense is stevia, which is different than the aspartames and the chemical sweeteners that have their own devastating problems that come with them. This is not an alcohol sugar. This is the extract of the stevia plant leaf. It's natural, and the good thing is that it is 0 on the glycemic index. So 0 glycemics, 0 calories, not a sugar, just a flavor. That's the wonderful thing. I think this is the healthiest sweetener we can find out there. But if you just use stevia, it's not going to taste that great in baked goods, maybe for your iced tea. But when you're baking cookies or muffins, just the stevia isn't going to be the very best we can do. So that's where I come in with my second sweetener, which is coconut palm sugar. And not as many people have heard of coconut palm sugar as they have stevia, but I've brought 4 brands. There are many, many other brands, but this is some of what you'll see in the market. It's all the same thing. It's sold at Sprouts or Mother's or Whole Foods or Ralph's these days. And this one is Trader Joe's brand. As I said, you can get almost anything in my book at Trader Joe's, the stevia, the coconut palm sugar. The only thing you can't get at Trader Joe's would be the xanthan gum and the baking flours. So coconut palm sugar, I just did a blog recently on my website, delightfullyfree.com, all about these sweeteners. So if you just changed your sugars that you're using, even in an old favorite recipe that you have, and instead of the 1 cup of white refined sugar, if you use the coconut sugar, that's fabulous. That's a great change. Coconut palm sugar, I think I forgot to say, is 35 on the glycemic index compared to 80 for table sugar. It is raw as opposed to refined and processed, and it is nutrient dense. It's full of calcium, magnesium, zinc, amino acids, B vitamins. Yes. Yes. Organic coconut sugar. This one is, this one is, this one is, and this one is. I think they all are. I mean, you can certainly check the package. Yes. It is. It's cup for cup. They say it's cup for cup. I feel that it might be slightly less sweet than sugar. So if you really want those chocolate chip cookies to be just as sweet as the usual, you might want to use 1 cup and 2 tablespoons, but it's pretty close. Yeah. So that's my suggestion for the one change you could make that would make such a difference in the life of your family. Okay, so we talked about my sweeteners in the cookbook. I found creative ways to change, to get the gluten out and to use alternatives. So you'll find that in my book, we're making cookies and crumbles and muffins out of almond meal and buckwheat and nicer, healthier ingredients. Of course, I recommend everything organic. That's up to us individually to purchase organic. Then when it comes to the dairy-free, that was really a fun, creative exploration. I found several different ways to make cream sauce or a creamy soup or anything that we wanted to be creamy without using milk, without using dairy. Of course, there are the dairy-free milks, coconut milk being the richest, creamiest, most effective. I also found that beans, like in the cake, like in the brownies, they play a role in nutrition and in creaminess. Beans in the blender do amazing things, and we're gonna see that in just a minute. And the other fun ingredient for creaminess that's nutritious is cauliflower.
Shake it,